Hey, good morning, world. And I do mean really like good morning. It's 4:47 where I'm at. Today's topic is going to be about health. I know it doesn't seem to have a lot to do about divorce and everything because a lot of people think about, okay, divorce, you got to talk about settlement of stuff. You got to talk about the kids, how to navigate through the emotions, how to deal with the families and friends and the heartache and everything else. But I want to talk about something about health. Health is really, really, really important during this time in your life. I have autoimmune disease. I have some other issues with my heart, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, which most of us at our age do, which is I'm 58 years old. So health during crisis and during stress and during high struggle times is one of the most important things you have to monitor. I've been very fortunate that I have a doctor that helps stay on top of my health. I do blood work every 90 days just to see where I'm at. And I think it's really important, guys, that you got to remember that health isn't just about what you eat, it's about also looking at your blood work. You got to stay on top of your blood work all the time. The way it was explained to me a while ago was that, you get in your car and every day you look at the gauges, every day. You want to see what the oil pressure is, the temperature, how much fuel you got, what's the charge on your battery, what's your tire pressure is, everything. And we do that every single day. We think that that's important data, right? You would never want to get into a car not knowing how much gas you have left, right? You just wouldn't want to do it. Now, I've had that. I have a 72 Nova that I don't know how much gas there's in, but every time I ride it, I always put more gas in it. That way I know I have gas. But blood work is a lot like doing that. It's like the gauges of the body. You need to be able to get blood work done, not once every year, or once every 2 years, or once every 3 years, because by the time something happens to your body and you wait 12 months or 16 months or 24 months, it could even be worse. I think it's important for everybody to always at least do blood work every 6 months, bare minimum. I think blood work every 6 months is bare minimum. As you get older, we're not in high school no more. We're not, young chicks running around anymore. And the problem is that when you go through a divorce, not only do you forget to take care of yourself, it's almost like we purposely try to punish ourselves in a way too. We don't eat, we stress. If you guys smoke, you smoke way more. If you drink a lot more. You go without food, you eat bad food, you go to McDonald's instead. The one thing that you can do is commit to staying on top of your health because your body's going to need it during this time. Your soul and your spirit and your mind is going to be crushed. And the only thing you got during that time that you need to really be able to keep in check is going to be your body. You need to make sure your body's in good shape. You got to make sure your body's being monitored and checked up on. And even if you don't feel like you want to do it because you want to die inside, you still got to do it. Stay on top of your supplements, guys. You got to find out what your supplements are. If you're not eating well-rounded food and well-balanced and with the vegetables and the greens and everything else you're supposed to be doing, which is, it's hard to do. I mean, it really is. If you're like me, I eat pretty good. Like I got turkey sausages and stuff like that I'm gonna make for breakfast, and I got eggs. Every morning I eat like 4 eggs. I'm old enough to remember when eggs were evil, eggs were great, eggs were evil, eggs were great. Well, I've come to believe eggs are fine. As long as you don't have a problem with some kind of allergy to them, eggs are great, and I eat 4 a day. I like eggs. They're super simple. I've got really good at making over easy. It was one of the things that, when the ex-wife used to make them, it was always like only half done and stuff. And I kind of bragged to her too a couple different times of how great I've been able to make eggs and make them over easy. So I want you guys to start thinking about supplements and start thinking about getting your blood work because you have to maintain your health. We should do that during normal processes when everything's going great, but you really have to do it whenever you're going through hard times because your cortisol levels are going to be through the roof. You're just not going to want to feel like taking care of yourself or doing nothing. I have so many supplements I take. It's crazy. I have Barrett's esophageal. I have bundle branch blockage in my heart. I got the autoimmune disease stuff that I was talking about. I take 4 different prescriptions. I hate doing it. I don't like prescriptions, but unfortunately I need to do it. With the Barrett's esophageal, it got pretty far out of hand, and it's like the lining, the mucosal level lining in your stomach, in your esophagus gets ripped out because of all the acids and stuff that's inside there. And luckily, that's one of the things that was pushed for me to go and look at, is I did the colonoscopy, found precancerous polyps in me, not once, but also twice. There was 5 the first time, 2 the second time, and then the precancer in my esophagus. I was one of those people that I loved hot sauce. The spicier, the better, man. I would go to the taco trucks and I would tell them, and Stockton has some of the best taco trucks ever, Stockton, California. If you don't know, you oughta ask somebody. But I would say make it hot, 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 real hot. Not gringo hot, Mexican hot, because that's how hot I liked it. And I love spicy stuff, and if it wasn't for me getting the endoscopy, which is probably well overdue that I should have done it, I would have never known. And esophagus cancer, as it was explained to me by the doctor, is one of the cancers that's almost impossible to be able to take care of. There's some kind of like ultrasound ablation or something like that they can do, but that's more or less to try to get the cells back to normal, not back to out of cancer. Whenever it's in cancer, you're kind of messed up. She explained it to me that, you're on an island, and as long as you're taking your PPI, everything on that island's okay for you to use. But as you take stuff off of the island, that comes up, and there's going to be like fried chicken and all that other stuff, is what she was using as an analogy. It builds a bridge to another island. And she goes, when that bridge is completed, you know what the other island is called? And I go, what? She goes, death. And I was like, oh my God, so I'm super careful on that. I do smoke a cigar every now and then. It's hard to give that up because I just love cigars, and I know I got to practice what I preach, but I used to smoke them every single day. But that's my only vice. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke pot. I don't do nothing like that. The only thing I do is I have a cigar once every 2 weeks probably, and I smoke it outside, and I feel okay about it because, you got to have a little bit of pleasure in your life. But health is the most important, guys. It really, really is. Without health, man, your body's going to collapse. And it doesn't matter if you're going through the divorce and you feel like dying, because you don't want to die, man, because you got people that love you. And I don't care if it's only one person. I don't care how isolated you feel. You got one person. You got an adult child, or you have an underage child. You have a mom that's still here. Maybe your dad's gone. You got siblings. Even if you don't talk to them, you got coworkers. And I'm telling you right now, man, as I was going through this divorce, some of the people I never even thought I would get love from have stepped up and showered me with so much support. It's crazy. You don't know who you're going to end up being supported by. And that's because they love you. They care about you. You got to care about yourself too. So please, I want you to start looking into doing things that are good for your health. And that doesn't mean just run into the gym, start exercising. That's great. And I want you to do that too. I want you to go on walks. I want you to take your dogs out. I want you to go feel the sun on your face in the morning. I want you to go to the dog park on a weekend and just feel alive. But you got to take care of your health. You got to do that anyhow. You should be doing that anyhow, no matter what. But it's extremely important during the high stress times of going through a divorce, because it's life crushing pain, man. If you've done it, you know what it's like. You just can't see tomorrow. You can't see the next minute sometimes, and it hurts and it aches, and just so many mixed emotions. And yes, time heals all pain, but the damage that we could do to our bodies if you don't take care of it, that might shorten your time that you're even here. You could collapse. You could end up having a stroke, an aneurysm. There's so many different things, that happen to the body. Because I'm gonna teach you something really quick right now. Is that, the mind and the body don't know the difference between stuff. It's only sensory inputs and data. That's it. It's sensory input and data. The mind has no idea if the body's really going through something. And conversely, the body doesn't really know if the mind's only going through something. So, fear, this is an analogy that I use. Fear is when you're walking across a river and you slip on a little rock that's got some moss, and whoo, that kind of creates a little quick fear, but you balance yourself out. It's okay. Then you got stress. And so what you do is, like, later on that day or the next day or something like that, you're thinking about that rock, going, man, I could have fell. Hey, that was close. I could have fell in that river. Man, I could have fell. So you go from fear to stress, and then you go to anxiety. Anxiety is where you start thinking rocks are everywhere. Everywhere when you walk outside, you start thinking there's mossy rocks everywhere, and you're like afraid of you're going to fall and stuff everywhere. And panic, this is the part that's scary. Panic is where the body now thinks it's on slippery rocks all the time too. That's why, like, when you see people having panic attacks, and if you haven't had it, you will when you're going through divorce, my brother. You will when you go through divorce multiple times, lots of times, because your body is going to respond in a way that it thinks that it's dying. And they're so connected to each other. But panic is where the body doesn't know the difference between what the mind's telling it is happening. And then conversely, again, the mind sometimes doesn't know what the body's doing. So both affect each other. So being balanced on your supplements your breath work, and we'll get into that in another video too. I love breath work. If you want to know what it's about, look up Wim Hof during this video, or after this video rather, Wimhoff. If you haven't heard of him, look into it. He's called the Iceman. The guy's got a wonderful story. It's crazy the things he's done. But breath work is one of those things too, that when you're getting into a panic attack, or you're in a stressful situation, or you're having high anxiety, it really does help, man. It's a reset. Like I said, I have autoimmune issues. I slept bad last night. I was going to go to the gym this morning, but I just felt like I was having a heart attack every 5 minutes, and I hate it. You know, it's still one of my struggles. I'm not going to lie, is being in a house by myself with no contact with humans at all whatsoever, and going through those issues by myself. It's hard. It's really, really hard, because you turn over in the bed, and you know, that was, like I said in one video, that was always my comfort, knowing that somebody was there, because I could always just wake them up, say, hey, we got to go to the hospital. I'm really dying. I don't have that no more. You know, I'm doing it on my own, as I should. I'm going to be a big boy, got my pull-ups on, you know, and so it's one of those things too. You got to listen to your body whenever you're having issues, when you're suffering, and don't keep pushing yourself. Know when to stop and just take a reset, take a day off. And I want to work out all the time. I really do. But 58 years old, it's pretty taxing on the body, because I go in there for an hour, hour and a half. I mean, really, I push hard. Even the young guys are like, damn, you know, and stuff. But I push hard, because I've taken all this pain and hurt and stress, and I focus it into things. And that's one is diet and exercise. Exercise a lot. But you got to listen to your body too, because too much exercise is also bad for you. You have to reset. It's just as important. Matter of fact, rest and nutrition is probably more important than going to the gym and just exercising and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, because you're going to break your body, you know. So I have to take today off, and it's okay. I'm just going to relax a little bit this morning. I'm going to have my 4 eggs, a big old hand full of baby spinach and kale, and I'm going to chop up one of these beautiful, yummy little chicken sausages right here. And I'm going to listen to my Boston Terrier snore. I got one that loves to snore, snores a lot, named Winston. It's cute, but he's always snoring and stuff, and he's a cute little dog. And I got another one named Porthos, and he's a special needs dog, and I do mean it like that. He should have a emotional support animal for him. So, guys, today is about health, taking care of yourself. Please, 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 whatever you do, I want you to think about getting blood work done. I do it every 90 days. I've got a doctor that works with me on it. I love it. I like doing it. I go into Quest. When my blood work comes in, I'm able to gauge what's happening. And if my cholesterol goes a little too high, I go, okay, I better lay off the beef sticks. Oh, okay, I better, you know, cut back on the red meat. I get into that, and I check my stuff all the time. I see if I add a new supplement, like I'm doing this NAC by Pure, and this is really good stuff. It's high-end, high-grade stuff. It's supposed to be for like my lungs and clearing that up too. And I just got a scan done on my lungs about 3 weeks ago, and surprisingly, my lungs are in great shape, man. I was a smoker and a vapor and pot smoker for, man, decades. I mean, a lot. I'm a compulsive kind of guy, and whatever I do, I get into it, and I do a lot of it, you know. So I'm shocked and happy at the same time, and very, very blessed, man, that my lungs are in good shape. But, you know, there's a lot of things that I want to be able to probably go over. In other videos, I'll probably go over supplements later on. It's not about sponsorship or nothing like that. It's about me sharing with you guys what I've gone through. I've done everything, man. I've done holistic healing. I've done chiropractic stuff. I've done cold plunges. I've got a sauna. I've done red light therapy. You know, I've done it all. I've done everything to try to figure out how to get my body better, because I've also had a health issue that's been going on for 9 years, and it's been a journey to figure that out. You know, so today, again, guys, please take only one thing from this video, and that's your health. Your health is super important, and the only way to know if you're healthy, and it doesn't mean just changing your diet, because you don't know if there's some underlying issues going on. When the stress happens from a divorce, and it will happen, if you don't feel like hurting yourself emotionally and doing bad things, and I'm not talking about slicing your wrist, I'm talking about doing dumb shit that's going to hurt you physically, like drinking too much or smoking too much, or just not eating or staying out all night, you really weren't in love. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say, because love hurts a lot whenever it's lost or broken. It will destroy everything about you. So please, again, health, get blood work done every 90 days if you guys can. If you have any questions about what I look at, what kind of panels I do, I have no problem showing you. Matter of fact, you see that on the fridge right there? That's my next blood work I get done. And I have another one scheduled for today to get my hormones looked at, to get my hematocrit looked at, my red blood cells. I like doing all kinds of blood work. I do, man, because that's the only way I know where I'm at. And at 58 years old, I don't want to be like a lot of my friends that are already having problems or getting mini strokes. And I mean, you guys know, man, when we get older, you start surviving the people you knew, and it's scary because people start dropping off and having heart attacks, and they die in their sleep, which is probably the best way to go. But you know, live your life as healthy as you can, guys. And it's going to be hard during the divorce. So please leave comments. I will reach out to you. I'll talk to you about anything I can. Thank you. Love you guys.